Every single day, it is looking more likely that the Oklahoma City Thunder are going to trade Josh Giddey to the Washington Wizards, but it's a matter of who they're going to trade him for. If is it going to be Denny, or is it going to be this new guy that's come on to the scene? I say come on to the scene. I'm talking for trade talks. He's been in the league for a little bit. I'm talking about Kyle Kuzma, how he could potentially be traded to the Thunder, and how this fit might actually be best for the team. What up? It's Bryson Akins with another Thunder Digest video for you guys today. Before we get all this though, I want to take a moment to recognize we're at 983 subscribers. Still trying to reach that 1,000 subscriber goal that I've set a little bit ago. I know we can hit that in a matter of a day. So like I've mentioned before, if you guys enjoy the content and you find yourself coming back on a regular basis, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. It's the best way to support the channel and to stay up to date when a new Thunder Digest video drops. With all that out of the way, we can go ahead and get into the video and talk about how, personally, I think Kyle Kuzma, he could be a fit. I think it might be a better fit overall as well for the team than going and getting a guy like Denny, who is young, who hasn't had playoff experience yet and hasn't been in the league for some, he's only been in the league for about 4 years now, if I'm not mistaken. But these Kyle Kuzma reports are escalating each and every day, as he was a guy that was being targeted by a bunch of teams at the trade deadline. No deal went through, and he had a pretty good year as well when you look at the numbers. But first, I want to show you guys where I'm getting this from. This is from Jake Weinbach. The Thunder and Wizards could discuss a possible trade this summer that would send Kyle Kuzma to OKC for a package centered around Josh Giddey and draft compensation. Kuzma would be an ideal fit on the wing in OKC, while Giddey would fit the long-term direction of the Wizards. So as you can see there, it helps out both sides. Now, I want to get this out of the way. It sucks. I understand. I don't want Giddey to go. I want him to be a part of this squad for years to come. However, like we've mentioned before, he might just be this odd man out on the team where when we're looking at our long-term plans and goals, he just might be the guy that is left out from those and where he doesn't really fit in anywhere. And ultimately, when you have these young squads that you build up from scratch, that's how it goes. That's just how the cookie crumbles there. We saw it in after 2012 when we had to trade away James Harden. Unfortunately, that's how it goes. You can't keep everyone because of the salary cap, but because of the salary limit. And if you're going to trade someone, you want to do it on their last year of their contract so you can get as much value from them as possible. And that's what we're probably going to try to do with Josh Giddey here in trading for Kuzma. There was also an article that was posted not too long ago talking about how it is looking more and more likely that Kyle Kuzma is being traded. They don't know, there's no front runner for a team at the moment where Kyle Kuzma is going. It's just it's almost certain that the Wizards are going to shop Kuzma and try to trade him to another team and build up a young core for years to come. And here's the article. Here's what they had to say. It's short real quick, so I'm going to go and read you all of it, or at least majority of what are, like what we should be covering here. The Washington Wizards are reportedly expected to explore trading forward Kyle Kuzma this summer. Michael Scott of Hoops Hype reported teams plan to circle back with the Wizards regarding Kuzma's deals during the offseason. Now, Washington nearly traded Kuzma to the Mavericks at the deadline in February. I know the Thunder were interested in Kuzma and a few other of those wing guys that are like 6'9", 6'10", that can get some boards but can also drive and score at will. So he was definitely on their radar. Along with guys like OG Anunoby. But Kuzma averaged a career-high 22 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists per game last season, while his individual stats were solid. The Wizards slogged through a 15-67 season, and Kuzma did not do much to prop up teammates. Kuzma and Jordan Poole were essentially the poster children for one of the league's most confounding teams. Going what's left here in the article, still, Kuzma had a manageable 4-year, $90 million contract that de-escalates every year moving forward. He will make $23.2 million in 2024-2025. From 2026 to 2027. Given the soaring rates of contracts around the NBA, getting a 20-point scorer at that rate is manageable, even if Kuzma has noticeable warts to his game. It's unlikely Kuzma will be the first choice of any team on the trade market, so the Wizards might have to wait things out. Their best chance at moving him early this offseason will be around the draft, but it's more likely he'll be on the roster well into early July. Once teams start striking out on free agency and look down the list to their third and fourth options, giving up assets for a player like Kuzma might be more palatable. So when you're looking at that, this article kind of tells me he's not going to be every team's first option when they're trying to trade for with Washington. We all know it's going to be Denny. We all know that if you're going to go get someone with that size and the same skill set as him, you're going to want to get Denny, the younger guy who's starting to rise up. However, Kuzma could be a valuable and reliable pan out. Because, of course, when you look at it, especially when you're going to give up someone like the Thunder are with Josh Giddey, who's still young, and a few other picks, you want to get the most value for your buck there. I feel like that would be with Denny, who just signed a contract extension not too long ago, and it would take a little bit to get him out of the grasp of Washington, D.C. from the Wizards there. However, I think the Thunder have the edge. I think they do, because there's one little thing that's being played into this that people don't talk about, is the fact that General Manager Will Dawkins and Sam Presti, they have college. So it's one of those things where they have that connection and they might be more fond of each other and try to get a deal done with each other and be more friendly and make sure both sides win in those scenarios, and where I can see a Denny trade happening, but also a Kyle Kuzma trade happening if they are 100% not going to give him up. So I see it more than likely happening for the Thunder. I think this is one of our more realistic trades that we can make in the offseason, one of the more realistic moves. And when you look at it too, from the numbers perspective with his contract, it still gives us quite a bit of room to work with free agency, where we could still potentially have enough cap space to go sign a guy like Nick Claxton still, who could fill into this starting role, where it could push someone off to the bench. Now, I think it'd be tough at that point to find someone to go to the bench in that scenario. However, if that's the case, if we know we're going to try to sign a bench guy, Isaiah Hartenstein's on the list. So I think this really does work out well in our favor if we do end up trading for Kuzma, because I feel like it would be a package around Josh Giddey and then 2 picks, and maybe they throw in another player like Kenrich Williams or someone on that lower end, a sign and trade maybe. We could definitely see that. It's just more and more likely when I look at it, it will happen. And especially when you look at his stats and, his numbers there. He's 6'9", 221 pounds, so there's the size. All right, he's 28, so he's entering the prime of his career right now, where he should be at the top of his game. And then when you look at it, 22 points, 6.6 rebounds, 4.2 assists, and 46% from the field. He's not showing the greatest numbers there with 46%, and it's not a very efficient 22 points, but it is it is 22 points and almost 7 rebounds, and that does help out when you look at it with the reboundings, because that's where we really struggled, and we also struggled with it off the bench, which I just mentioned. Going and getting him still allows us anywhere from $15 to $20 million in cap space, because you're trading over Giddy, and that takes out $8 million in Kuzma's contract there. It allows us to be able to go get a guy in free agency still that is willing to come off the bench and be our big man enforcer down there to help us not lose the rebound battles and just lose our leads that we have when we put our bench in. So it really does look like a very good fit for us. I know a lot of people in the Thunder community have talked about it before. The only downside is when you look at it is a very selfish game. At it, especially when you look at how some of our players play, like Giddy and Dort. They try to get everyone else involved. They move the ball around. They want to make sure we get the best shot as possible. It's just one of those things where if Kuzma has a chance to shoot, he's definitely going to shoot it. And that's the only thing that I look at where I'm like, I don't know if this trade would actually pan out if that's the case. I do think, though, if he's on a winning team, he'd be able to take this little backseat role to be a 3rd or 4th option on this team, because he would be the 4th scoring option behind Chet, J-Dub, and Shai. Glimpses of that when he was in LA. Now, that was a few years ago. That wasn't, I say a few years ago. It's been a little bit since we've seen him in LA on a winning team of that caliber. However, he was playing team basketball when he was. You would see glimpses of that where he would take this backseat role for the betterment of the team. So if he can do that, I think it would work out. But I'm interested in what you guys think as well. So go ahead, leave it in the comments what you personally think about a Kuzma trade and what you guys think the package would be, because there's a lot of ways that it could go. But it is looking like it's centered around Josh Giddey. So that's all I got for this video. If you guys stayed the whole time and you find yourself coming back and enjoying these videos, I just want to, remind you guys again, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free to do, and it's just the best way to support the channel if you guys love getting your Thunder news from here. And I'll see you guys in the next video.